Laisse-moi boum bang bang sur ton badillot. Ça fait la teuf ce soir, viens par ici, c'est chaud. Baby, ça va
everyone, Michael Young today here with the much anticipated Samsung Galaxy Note review. This is the 16 gig white version. You can pick this up on Amazon for approximately $700. So let's go ahead and open this device, but before that, let's flip over to the back and let me give you a rundown of the specs. This device have a monstrous 5.3-inch Super AMOLED display displaying 720p HD, a 1.4 dual-core processor paired up with 1 GB of RAM, 8 megapixel back camera and 2 megapixel front camera. I'll demonstrate to you later. An S Pen, which is basically a stylus, but this stylus, unlike the crappy resistive screen stylus, is based on the Wacom tablet technology. I'll also demonstrate that in just a moment. You have Smart Art by S Pen, which is basically some of the software that Samsung provides, preloaded to use with the S Pen. Advanced positioning by GPS, blah blah blah. Full HD and recording and playback, and a huge 2500 milliamp battery. So let's zoom out on that one. Right, let's go ahead and open the box, and here we do have the Samsung Galaxy Note. I'm not gonna go over what's included in the box because I already did that in the unboxing. The link will be posted just right below. So here, let's go ahead and take the Note out of the box. Put that aside. And here we have got the Samsung Galaxy Note itself. If you have heard me on the unboxing, this device is really monstrous, and even the iPhone 4 can fit into its screen. Right, let's go ahead and put that aside. And let's talk about the screen. The screen, as I've told you, is a 720p HD, which means that it has a resolution of 1280 across 800. This is comparative to the Samsung Galaxy Tab 10.1, and I'll show you guys just some of the picture to show you how good the contrast is on this screen. So let's go ahead and see some wallpaper gallery. Alright, so that's just a little demonstration on how good the screen is. It's really good. You'll realize that the moment you pick it up, it's really hard to go back to the iPhone's small screen. You'll get addicted to it, and nope, it is not that big. I mean, it is impossible to use it using one hand operation, but if you use two hands, it shouldn't be too difficult. And unlike what some other reviewers said, it does not actually feel weird to place it on your ear if you're taking a call, so that shouldn't be a problem. Next, let's go ahead and take a look at the Wacom tablet technology. Wacom tablet technology was just recently developed, and it's basically a stylus, which they've included nicely on the bottom, that works with a capacitive display. As most of you know, that capacitive display don't usually come with a stylus because you basically use your fingers, which is what it's great for. But most of you guys will probably know the stylus from Windows Mobile 5.6, 6.1 and those versions before they came out with the Windows Phone 7. And so this is really different. The Windows Mobile, my apologies, had a crappy resistive screen. Meanwhile, this have a capacitive screen, and this stylus actually works with the tablet well. Let's go ahead and show you using the S Memo, which is one of the software bundled into and preloaded here. So here is the tablet, and we can just write anything. The good thing about this stylus is that if you press hard, it will show up as hard. If you press softly, it will show up as soft. So that's really neat. It really depends on the pressure you put on the screen, and a really neat feature that they included it. Next, let's go ahead and talk about the software bundled and Samsung skin on top of the pure Android. Samsung bundled this Samsung Galaxy Note, and I believe most of the Androids and Butter phones they sell with a software called TouchWiz. Not many people like that software because they say it looked too cartoonish and would much prefer either the pure Android or Android Sans by HTC. And I would say I'll have to agree, I didn't really like this software when I first picked it up because I thought, well, first of all, they included a bunch of crapware that slows down the processor and takes up a huge amount of RAM. But once you remove that, it should be pretty good. One of the coolest features that I like to show off to people is the expose was featured on a Mac a few years back before Lion. So what you basically do is you take 3 fingers and you swipe it. Here you get basically the overview of your screens should you choose to add one. And yep, you can basically add anything, add any widgets, apps, whatsoever. But we are not gonna do that because, as I said, it's gonna take up lots and lots of RAM and lots of processing power because it's gonna run in the background. Furthermore, it's also gonna take up lots and lots of battery juice from the phone. So this is a pretty okay software. I wouldn't say it's the great, but so far so good. Of course, if you do like to change the skin, you can always hack the phone, but I'm not gonna do that since I think this phone is pretty alright in this state. Let's go ahead and talk about the much anticipated camera. This camera is one of the best in its class, and even some reviewers said it's either comparative if not better than the iPhone 4S 8 megapixel camera, and I'm just gonna show you that right now. Let's go ahead and take a look at the view outside. It's a beautiful view. And let's hit the camera and let me just show you how good is it. Here, let's flip the screen over and oops. Here, as you can see, it's pretty damn good. It's 8 megapixel and it's fair to say that it is better, if not the same, as the iPhone 4. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the sample pictures that I've taken using this. Oh, anyway, let me just demonstrate to you how quickly this phone takes a picture. It's pretty fast. I mean, not as fast as the iPhone 4, but still. Here, and then boom, it's in. One thing I really like about the camera is the settings that they give you. Oops. For example, here you get a ton of settings that you don't get with iOS. For example, you get shortcut, you get self-portrait, you get flash, you get shooting mode, which is single shot or a smile shot, panorama, share shot, cartoon, action shot. You get scene mode, which is basically portrait, landscape, night, or sport. Exposure value. This is one of my favorite features. You can change the exposure value any way you want. You've got autofocus or not. You have got timer, which is great. You can change the resolution, white balance, ISO. This is my favorite, my absolute favorite. You definitely don't get this option, and you can change it all the way up to 800 ISO. That's a definitely a very neat feature. Here, switching to the front face self-portrait, you have got the 2 megapixel here camera, and it's suffice for Skype and those video calling, but it's not too great. But still, no one really uses front-facing camera anyway. So let's go back to the home screen. And the browser, I generally don't like the stock browser that comes with Android, so I decided to download Dolphin browser the moment. Go ahead and do a really quick benchmark for the browser. For this, we're just gonna use speedtest.net, and let's go and see how fast the internet is over HSPA+. Start test. So it's pretty average at 62 milliseconds for ping. a 30 megabytes per second for download, and that's 1.95 megabytes per second for upload speed. So it's really average. Of course, if you're in an area where you get better coverage, the results are gonna be better. So that's browser, and let's go ahead and talk about the battery life on this bad boy. Now, the battery life might seem really huge at 2500 milliamp hour. Here you can see how big the battery is. But I'm gonna tell you, this is not gonna be enough to power up this huge screen. This is not gonna be enough. It takes approximately an hour and 40 minutes to fully charge this battery from about 15% to 100%. And this battery, from my calculation, drains approximately at 7% every 15 minutes. And that 15 minutes is of course used to browse flash heavy websites, and the screen is on full brightness. But even with average use, I heavily doubt that you're gonna get a full day through without recharging this battery. Of course, the main culprit of this battery is the screen, because the screen alone requires a tremendous amount of power just to power up that 5.3-inch screen, much less with full brightness. The battery is gonna drain really quickly. Another important aspect, and one that I was disappointed in, was the build quality. This device looks excellent actually on hand, but to be honest, the build quality is actually really bad. If you take a look on the bottom right here, you'll see that I've a fair amount of pretty deep scratches, and I've only been using this device very lightly, very gently for about 7 days, which is a week. And even then, I've accumulated some scratches on the plastic band. This might look like it's metal, but it's plastic. Another issue I had with the build quality was how flimsy the battery cover is. Let me show you. Here's the battery cover, and let me show you how flexible it can be. This flexible without snapping. So that's really a build quality issue. Without the battery installed, this phone is really light. I mean, it feels feather light, and it's not the kind of lightness that I would like. It's really light because they used cheap materials to build the phone, which is really disappointing. Of course, one great feature about the screen is that it is made up of Gorilla Glass. For those of you who don't know what's a Gorilla Glass, it's basically unscratchable glass. You can scratch it in any way and it will withstand those scratches, so that eliminates the need to buy a screen protector. So that's it, my review for the Samsung Galaxy Note. I really hope that you enjoy. One thing I want to do really quickly is also to give you a short review of the Samsung Galaxy Note official flip cover. This can be purchased on Amazon for about 40 bucks. And to install this, you basically have to pry open and take the original battery door off. And you have to put the one that they included with the case, with the flip case itself. Granted, this is very expensive for a case. I mean, 40 bucks, all you do is a protector for the screen cover, because you see there is little or no protection for the plastic band on the side, which I've talked about previously. So all you're getting for 40 bucks, not even a screen protector, you're just getting a front flip cover. This is really overpriced, and unless it comes included with your phone, I do not suggest that you buy it. In some country it comes with the phone, but most you will have to pay 40 bucks.